Hi everybody and welcome to the Lash Tribe Show. I am your host, Julia Mann, owner and founder of Lash Tribe. We are a multi-award-winning eyelash extensions training company creating successful and fully booked lash artists all over the world. And in today's episode, I am actually speaking to one of the veterans in the industry, Mandy Jeffery from Fox Cosmetics. Mandy started in beauty over 23 years ago and she has been in lashes ever since that hit Australian shores, which was about 15 years ago. And we are really diving deep in today's episode on things that you should consider when you're starting your own business, which is trusting in the right people, always knowing your numbers, and also why training is so important and why there's so much wrong information out in the world of lashes as well as eyebrows.
If you do a 1 hour infill, you charge $100, your staff and your costs of your business, most likely you're not making actually any money. Oh, crap. Back then a full set was like 15 lashes an eye. Brow extensions, which were hideous. Paste, which is also hideous. Semi-permanent mascara, which is also hideous.
Wow, this was long. So if you would like to find out a few tips on what you should and shouldn't be doing when you're just starting out your lashes and why training is so important and all the different things and bits and pieces that are floating around in the industry that are not quite true, keep on watching. I'm here with Mandy Jeffery from Fox Cosmetics.
Hi.
And thank you so much for joining me today. I've already done a little bit of an introduction, but I guess it's more interesting for people to really hear the full story. So what did you actually do before you went into lashes and specifically brows, talking about henna and things like that? Where were you beforehand? And then what was the situation where you thought, oh, I really want to get into lashes?
Yeah. So I was originally a fully qualified beauty therapist, or an esthetician. I have a diploma in health science, and I opened up a salon when I was 20 years old on the Queen Street Mall in Brisbane. And probably at the height of that, I had 5 staff members working in the salon. And then we moved locations and the GFC hit and I had to have 2 extra jobs on top of running the salon. So I sold Tupperware. I was a Tupperware lady when I was probably 29 and worked in a sunglass shop, but I don't wear sunglasses. So that was interesting. And then still did like my whole week's worth of clients in 3 days in the salon to keep people employed. And then I just decided to move everything home and just worked in my own little bubble at home, probably doing like 20 hours a week. And yes, that was sort of like the first probably 15 years of my journey was that. And I started doing lashes because I saw them on the Real Housewives of the OC on TV. And when I need to do that because I've got the most piddly, pathetic eyelashes in the world. And I'm like, I need that. I can do that myself. Surely I can do everything else myself. Started doing them, had a staff member that had been taught to do them. So we're using brow tweezers with little pots of lashes and really slow glue with no lighting. And I was very, very bad at it. But back then a full set was like 15 lashes an eye. And then I got onto all like the Facebook groups, once groups all started with that. And I'm like, oh my God, there's all this stuff out there. And discovered Russian volume. So I invited a trainer into Australia to teach Russian volume, and they did advanced brow stuff. And it was in that training that I saw that I wasn't the only one struggling to get further information, and that the courses out here, like the legitimate course that I did at a training supplier, told us to use B curls, and you had to do 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 across the eye. That's what you had to do, and 0.20s. That was your standard. Everybody can wear that. The trainer couldn't put lashes on me because my lashes are so fine, and I'm like, there's got to be better. There's got to be better than this, because they're doing groups of 8 people coming through, and I'm like, there has to be better than this. So that's when I started training. I'm like, well, everyone's sort of in the same boat that the training's sort of lackluster out there, and it's not being trained by people that are actually working on the floor or on the tools. So I'll do it myself. Can't be that hard.
Yeah. And how did you get into the whole henna situation? Because I remember there was like a bit of a transition, and then all of a sudden it was like
henna was
Mandy
huge.
is the brow queen of Australia now. How did that happen?
Well, when I brought this trainer out to Australia, they did an advanced brow class, which covered brow extensions, which anyone that's been in the industry for a little while remembers brow extensions, which were hideous. Semi-permanent brow paste, which is also hideous, which is like semi-permanent mascara, which is also hideous, in my opinion.
I agree.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, right? They seem like amazing ideas at the time, but it's like, in reality, it's not a great idea. And they also showed us henna, and I'm like, wow, because tinting didn't last on me. Tinting would last 2 days if I tinted my brows, and I'd have them tattooed, and that didn't even last when I had them tattooed. Yeah, I just fell in love with the theory of the henna that was a more natural-based product rather than, you know, a synthetic dye, even though there are synthetics, of course, and reactors and irritants in brow henna. Traditional henna is not, and I sort of fell in love with the whole process and the outcome that I personally got. I just sort of fell in love with it, and everyone was very like, who is this chick from Brisbane, like trying to spin her wares, and I just kept like trucking, and then we got asked for training with it, and so I did. My first training was in Brisbane with I think 15 students, and it's just sort of evolved from then. Of course, it's exploded now. So I would say I would be, probably the first person in the Western side of things, and you know, especially in Australia and New Zealand and like that.
To bring it across the globe as well.
To bring it across the globe, yeah. To actually get recognised for it, and I've taught probably most of, you know, the people that are now bringing out henna products. They will have gone through either online training or training that I've done, it like when we did Lash Bash and things like that. And it's cool, it's all about knowledge, and the more knowledge we have, the better we all are.
Now, I know you know a lot about it, and maybe we should invite you back for like a henna podcast or something like that. But let's talk about the business side of things a little bit. What would you say are 3 of the things that you have done really good in the way of growing from, you know, having your staff and your salon in the city to where you are now with a global brand? What are 3 things that our viewers or listeners can take away?
Well, I can definitely tell you things I did badly. But the things,
we'll ask that next.
The things that I did well was starting to work with more like-minded people, like yourself, Julia, to actually get people in your circle that actually want to see you succeed, that don't see you as competition, is definitely a huge thing. Listening to my mum, because I have that personality that's like, I believe everything everyone tells me, and I think everybody is wonderful, which is great.
I have that same issue.
Yeah, you just go, I love you, you're amazing. And then unfortunately, 8 times out of 10 you go, oh, that's a shame. And then my mother, who's 74, will go, told you I didn't like them. So I'm starting to trust that intuition and not say yes straight away. How is this going to benefit me? And it's not about financial benefit, but it is this a road I want to walk down? And taking a day to think about it, not just go, yep, I want to do that, yep, I want to do that. Because I tend to say yes a lot.
That's a great tip.
Yeah, it's just to go, give me a minute.
What is the second thing which you say that you did very good?
I decided on, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Not what my end game is, but what...
Your values?
My values, of like, if I wanted, especially with Fox, and I had people ask me this, you know, well, what if David Jones approached you? Would you go into David, like, what would you do?
That's a good question.
Right? What would you do if David Jones approached you for Fox? Because that's a big contract, right? I'm like, but my ethics say that I'm salon. Well, I own it, that will never be. And it was nice finding that was that's a hard no. And that I don't want to sell to consumers, that's also a hard no. Of other things are flexible, but they are no, because I love the industry that I'm in. I would hate to see it sort of fall more apart than it already is.
And that just shows your core values and how strong of a foundation you have too. And I think someone who's new in the industry, they see the dollar signs, and when they get a good offer, they don't think about what do I actually stand for. And the long-term repercussions of our consumers, because there'll always be consumers that will do things themselves, and that's totally fine. And I understand people have different budgets. But if our wholesalers don't protect us, and I think coming from a salon background, to know products that I have endorsed and sold and worked very hard to do their services and do their treatments the way they want them done, and then they're available on Strawberry Net. Yes.
And I have clients going, oh, you charge 120 and I bought 2 for 40. And it doesn't matter how many times you tell them. That could be sitting in a dock, it could be fake product, it could be old product, it could just have been sitting in the sun for 3 months. They don't care because it's all about the dollar at the end.
And what is another thing apart from your values, and then only trying to work and surround yourself with people that will bring you forward and not trying to take you backwards? What's another thing that you think, yep, done that right, highly recommended?
Continuing education.
Yes.
Of course. Is that I will do as much training as I can and go to as many conferences as I can, whether I'm a speaker or a sponsor or just an attendee, and go to whoever will train me. I will, because a lot of trainers won't train trainers.
Because you know so much as well.
That's it, you know, and I get it, so it's definitely that continuing education, and then trying not to be a brat in that continuing education to go, you're wrong, because I could be wrong, you know, and I'm always open to learning. But if you can't show me that this way is better, and why, like, why do I need to have this product? What benefit is it going to do to me, myself? I have no issue spending money. I have no issue changing the way that I do things if you can tell me the why. When we first started with henna, it was just henna and water. And now there's cleanser, prep, why? If someone can't tell me why, like I can tell my students why with Fox, there's a reason we do things the way we do it.
Same with skincare.
Skincare.
What do we actually need?
Why do we need these steps? Yeah, what is
organic or natural?
What do these things mean? And it is, it's like, why? Tell me why I need to now put these extra steps in. Like before, we never even used to cleanse lashes. And now it's like, oh, duh, of course we need to cleanse people's eyes before we start, or we just used whatever cleanser was in our skincare range, which would have been full of oil. No wonder we had really bad retention. But our retention wasn't as bad because we didn't isolate very well, because we used brow tweezers, because they didn't actually have isolation tweezers. So it's like, tell me why, and then I'll understand.
Just to give everyone an example of something that I thought for years was kind of correct, or at least I didn't have the knowledge otherwise. So I just believed what other people were saying.
We don't know what we don't know.
That is the thing. And that has to do with like a product that is tested on animals or vegan considered or whatever, and I'm learning it all right now, doing a diploma in cosmetic chemistry, that nothing in Australia is ever tested on animals, because we have a contract. We are one of quite a few countries in the world. There's literally only a handful of countries, including China, that will ever test on animals. But that doesn't mean that an ingredient that's in a product maybe 20 years ago would have been tested on animals.
But they've all been tested at some point.
That's right, but that's the branding, and that is what confuses the consumer, because now our clients ask, well, is your product like tested on animals? No. And is it vegan? Yeah, there's no animal product.
Especially in lashes. Oh, the bits of plastic.
Exactly.
Is ridiculous.
And it's just marketing.
It's just marketing.
If people say our products are not tested on animals, they're vegan, that's a given, you know, things like that. So you got to watch out being a consumer. What are some things, and we can do 3 or 2, however many you can come up with, that you want to share with our viewers to avoid when they're starting their own maybe brand or their own salon?
Yeah, especially with with starting your own salon, some of the biggest lessons I got was, don't have your heart set on a brand and ask them for advice, because they will only advise you on what will be a winner for them. So definitely making sure that you don't just listen to what somebody else says when they're going to, and like back then opening orders were $14,000, right? So $14,000 was a lot of money. So for them, that is a huge buy-in, and they wanted me where they wanted me. So I naively just listened to them of where I ended up, which is fine because that was part of my journey, but hindsight. So that'd be my first thing, is don't listen to people that have a vested interest for themselves in where you end up. You're just going to take the advice you get from people with a grain of salt, especially if they're going to make a lot of money out of you. And with branding and things, you know, we've gone through a huge branding process to create Fox, and then I've rebranded Australian Lash and Brow Arts to Beauty Lab. That process was amazing. It cost a lot of money. But again, you need to know that when somebody's charging you for things that, and it's not sort of a end of the deal, like when we do training, it's like, this is what the package is. It's $500 or $5,000 and this is the training, this is what's included, and there's no surprise costs. When you're dealing a lot of the times with like very big agencies, marketing agencies, advertising agencies, those things, it becomes an open-ended transaction. There is no, this is going to cost you $10,000. Even if they quote you and say your website will cost you 10 grand, say, which is a lot of money. But in website worlds, websites can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to build. That it's never the end price, that there's always going to be these sneaky surprises that you don't think of because we don't work in that world. When we quote somebody, and especially when you're working on the floor and you say, well, our lash infill is $100, it's $100. Our clients don't then, unless we go, you know what, you need more time today, generally we will tell them that, and it will be an extra $15 or something. You don't get told that dealing with these big companies. They just send you an invoice and it's like, oh, crap. So definitely making sure that you get everything in writing is a huge one. Everyone I deal with now, they have to go through mum first, so they speak to me, and then I say you've got to go through the gatekeeper, so you need to send me an email with everything in writing that's included in what you're going to do for me, and you're going to go through the gatekeeper. And it's, it gets a yucky place when you're very trusting personality types like ours, that we trust people to do the right thing for us. But they don't, and it's a little bit heartbreaking. But you've got to put your big girl pants on and go, well, I would like that in writing, please. You know, and I think everyone has to get ripped off in these industries, and as you grow you get ripped off, but the only way to protect yourself is getting it all in writing and not just trusting.
Anything else where you think, oh, this is what I did wrong?
Things are a little bit easier now, I think, with like online booking and stuff like that, but you know, deposit systems and charging booking fees and all those things. Like I would definitely be, if I was trying to start a business again now, being hands-on, I would definitely have online booking and be charging deposits, you know, or booking fees.
For sure.
You know, back in the old days, we didn't have that. We didn't even have mobile phones when I started my business. We didn't have mobile phones. We didn't really have the internet. We did, but no one really knew how to use it. But now you've got that method of being able to secure those appointments and communicate quite clearly with your clients that they will lose that fee if they don't, and no matter what the excuse is. I tend to give people, you know, a get out of jail free card once a year. They can not be charged, you know. So it's like if they're sick, if you know, if something's happened, I will go, okay, cool, do you want to use your get out of jail free card on this appointment?
Floating deposit.
That just floats from one to the other.
And then if they miss it, that's gone.
It's gone. You know, but if someone's, I don't know, son's in hospital every second appointment. You know, or their mother dies 2 or 3 times. You know?
They have gastro all
the time. Then it's like, well, I'm not the person for you. I'm not. My business is not flexible enough to be able to compensate.
Is that what you would say? Because that's a great thing to tell people. Because I get asked that question a lot from you guys as well. What do I do if I want to get rid of a client? How do you handle that situation?
So what I've done before is I've apologized for not being flexible enough to be able to accommodate their needs, you know, and apologized, said, I'm so sorry, I can't, but I don't have online booking. I only had online booking for a very small amount of time, and then I got rid of it because I didn't want people to see when I was booked or when I wasn't booked, because then you can never say you're fully booked if you got online booking and they can see that you've got bookings free. But you have said that to a client that, you know, I'm not flexible enough for her child's needs, you know, because the child was constantly in hospital. It was the excuse all the time. She was constantly in hospital. I'm like, I'm so sorry, your son's unwell. I can't accommodate you anymore though, because I can't be flexible enough, because I rely on being booked to be able to make my pay, you know, my rent or mortgage or whatever. And another instance where I had a client that every time she got lashes done, she complained they were too short, they were too long, they were too full, they weren't full enough, they were this, they were that. And it got to the point where, because I don't do much for free, right? So if someone had massive loss within the first couple of days, of course, come in, let me look, let me fix this up. You know, I'll fix it, no problem. Let me know and I'll fix it. But if it's like at 7 days and they're like, I'm not happy, send you a message. And she was an older woman, and it's exhausting. And I just called her and I said, you know, it makes me very sad that you're not happy with the services, and I feel guilty taking your money for something you're not happy about. So you know, I can give you places that might be able to do this better for you because I feel bad taking your money.
I love that.
Right? And she immediately changed the tune and went, no, I love what you do.
Reverse
Psychology. Yeah, because it is. I'm like, I don't like you anymore as a person, so I don't want you coming in to see me because I'm like, I can't make you happy and it makes me sad.
So one of my really good friends and mentors who actually had me as a guest on his podcast, Kim Barrett from the Kim Barrett Show, he actually asks every single guest one question at the very end, which I didn't know until it was my turn. And I want to kind of incorporate that because I think that's so important, because I ask you all the questions that I think might be interesting for the viewers. But what is one question that you wish I would have asked you?
Okay. I guess one of the biggest things I see in the industry, which is like not spoken about very much, is pricing. There's a lot of talk about how do we service-based, how you price your services, but then us as wholesalers and trainers, how do we figure out our pricing? And the slack we can cop about that. Yeah, that I see it. I just came back from Canada from a trade show, an esthetician's trade show, and Brent and I were there, who's one of my Fox trainers, and we were doing demonstrations, and a lot of people were saying, so how much do we charge? How much do we charge for the service? I'm like, well, what are your costs? And they're like, I have no idea. I'm like, well, this will cost you about $5, okay? I'm like, I charge $65 for half an hour because I need to do 120 to 130 an hour to cover my costs and make some money in my salon, okay? So for me to open when I had a bigger salon, it cost me $55 an hour to open my doors and not pay any staff and not get paid. So people out there that are doing lash infills for $60, you're making what's the point? That's a coffee.
There's no point.
It's not even a coffee anymore, right?
No.
And so we do a lot of coaching, and you probably do the same thing and we can't do a lot with it because I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, but it's like,
that's your experience.
It's experience.
You know what works.
Yeah, you know, that you need to break down all of your costs down to, you can break it down to 10 minutes, you can break it down to the minute, or you can break down, I do things by the hour, because usually lash infills are an hour, brow henna is half an hour. That if you know those prices of what it costs you to open your doors, that's air conditioning, you know, all your electricity, your water, your gas, your rent, insurance, having a staff member sit there doing nothing, right? Having, you know, the phones, your mobile, your internet, you know, what if the computer breaks down, to have that extra bit of cash there that if something does go wrong, you can fix it, right? What does that actually cost? And then take your taxes out, because remember, you got to pay tax regardless. The government wants their money, and it's not just GST, it's, you know, your income tax as well. And you need to put all of that aside so you don't get surprise bills at the end, because I've had surprise bills before. I'm like, whoopsie, didn't put that money aside. And, or it's been spent on another bill coming through, right? Is to make sure that you've got all of that covered, so you know, what is my break even, and put your own pay and put your super in there. You know,
that's the thing. Super
right?
is important too,
If you're running a business with staff and your staff are taking home more money than you, what is the point? Like, what is the point? What, go and work for somebody else. Like, I see so many you know, new people to the industry that are like, I'm just learning, so I'm just charging $60 a full set, and I totally get it. I used to charge, I can't remember what I charged when I started, but it was probably ridiculous. But I cost for less. My full-time staff are about $16 an hour, right? Lash techs are getting paid $25 to $30 an hour.
I know, it's such a high-paying industry.
Which blows my mind, because that's more than what a level 6 beauty therapist gets paid, right? Who can sell $500 in an hour, right?
That's right.
And when you look at it like that, you go, that is insane. As a salon owner though, as a business owner, if you've got staff that you're paying $30 an hour, you then have to do their super, which is 9.5, so 10%, so $33 an hour. Then their insurance on top, and the other insurance on top, you're looking at about $45 an hour. If you're charging $50 for a set of lashes, and your salon costs $55 an hour, it costs you, what's that, $100. Costs you $100 to make no money. Costs you $100 to make no money. So
we're talking about 1 hour.
1 hour. If you do a 1 hour infill, you charge $100. Your staff and your costs of your business most likely you're not making actually any money at all, which is not why we're in business. Yeah, so even if you're working from home, those sort of things, I've always sort of priced myself that, I've paid GST from the start, and I always recommend my students charge like they're doing GST, because a 10% hike is a lot when you get to 75,000, which is Australian, of course, is to factor all of that into your costings. And because a set of lashes costs $15 for a new set of lashes, like $15 to $20 to do, right? So that's why people go, I can just charge 45, I'm making 25 bucks. What's $25? That doesn't buy you McDonald's, like it doesn't buy you a Happy Meal. Like, you got to think beyond that. And that's all money mindset stuff, and it takes a long time to get around that. But then we find it as well as suppliers, and I'm sure you see it on forums as well, of like, what's the best AliExpress person to buy product off? I can get my lash trace for $2, you charge me, 25. It's like, yeah, because I have staff. Yeah. So for me to have someone packing orders, I need
rent.
And rent, electricity. We have the same things. So we would never, as trainers, recommend you to charge $15 a set to do lashes, because that's what it costs you. Just as we can't charge $15 for a tray of lashes because that's what it costs us to get it landed. That is all part of business. It's all part of that ecosystem of having a business. And yeah, we shouldn't be made feel, women especially get made to feel guilty about making money, and we shouldn't. Money is just a transference of energy, right? And you can see out there, I've had a few conversations in the last 2 weeks with people really worried about the economy.
Yeah.
Like really, really worried, because sales have shifted.
They have.
There's been a big shift. I've seen a huge shift in sales.
Yeah.
And it is scary, like we are on one income. My partner has a busted back, not broken, but it's not good. And so we're on one income. It's like, thank goodness we got a mortgage I could pay by myself. Yeah, because we probably couldn't afford rent. Yeah, and people see you as a supplier and teaching, and they're like, wow, you must be rolling in it. And it's like, well, sometimes it's amazing.
I rebrand.
Yeah,
and then I
then I've got no money left.
Oh, thank you so much for
Thank you so much
joining
for
me.
having
Now,
me.
I do have a round of rapid fire questions. If you're up for
Okay.
it.
All right. Okay.
Some of them may not apply to you, so just throw whatever answer in
Okay.
that you think applies to you. Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
All right. Yes.
Beach or sightseeing?
Beach.
Coffee or wine?
Rum.
Rum. I expected that question actually.
Yeah. Spiced rum.
Favorite country you have traveled to in the last 12 months?
Oh. I've been. Yeah. Last year was a little bit crazy. The Rockies in Canada.
Yeah.
That was the most amazing experience. Like
Awesome.
a postcard. Just amazing.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pizza or pasta?
Oh. Pizza.
That took a while. You
Yeah,
like the
because
most-
I do like a good carbonara.
Yes.
Right?
I make a really good carbonara.
I know, I've heard that.
Yes.
I've heard.
Favorite artist, like as in singer?
At the moment, I'm listening to heaps of Lizzo, but my all-time favourite would have to be Tom.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Choc mint.
Home or travel?
Oh, home.
I'm a home buddy.
Home. Yeah, getting back was like couch, dog, partner. Well,
Netflix.
partner, yeah. That's pretty much what I did yesterday.
Yes, good
Yeah.
choice. Rain or sunshine?
Oh, sunshine, but without the Brisbane heat.
Yes, it's
Without
not
the
nice
humidity.
right now.
Yeah. So sunshine without humidity,
Yeah.
but not too dry. Like 23 degrees with a slight breeze.
Okay, not specific at all.
I'm not picky.
Sounds like our winter, but in the end of winter.
Yes.
It's the best.
The end of our winter, start of spring.
Yeah, October is just nice. Favorite thing to do on the weekend if it's not work related?
Oh God, Netflix.
Anything else? Anything?
We used to love doing rock and roll dancing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My partner and I used to do a lot of rock and roll dancing, but then life just got crazy.
Yeah.
But just spending time with, Shane and the dog.
Yeah. And what do you watch on Netflix at the moment?
We just finished Altered Carbon.
I see
Number
that
2.
all the time.
It is
good?
amazing.
Okay, I'll get into it. I'm watching
Amazing. It's
Stranger
like-
at the moment.
Like, we'll do your head in.
Yeah, I like that kind of thing.
It's like totally future. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Shameless plug. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, and our second last, classic or volume.
Oh, volume.
And then one thing no one knows about you.
I can think of some naughty things, but I'm not gonna.
We can do naughty.
Things that people don't know about me. I ran away from home a lot. From about at the age of 3.
Holy moly.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Oh,
I used to like.
mother.
I know. Yeah, they. I think it was like 3 or 4. I chucked the punanis one day, and I packed up an apple, a bread knife, spare undies, and just went, that's it, I'm out of here.
Where did you go?
We were living on acreage then, so I walked up to the main road and I was still walking. My dad apparently was like, shouldn't we go and get Mandy? Like to my mum, and she's like, teach her a lesson. And I'm like, I could have been abducted. Oh, another thing, I was actually hitchhiking in Byron Bay. I don't know if I should, because my mum doesn't know this. My mum doesn't know it. Hitchhiking in Byron Bay when Schoolies was on, and that was just as Ivan Milat was like going through court. So like he used to pick up hitchhikers from Byron. Yeah. But anyway, I used to run away.
But you're still here, so
I'm still here, so it's fine.
It's all right.
Yeah.
She just had to run with him, and
that's
all good.
He was like, she'll put up too much of a fight. But yeah, definitely I used to run away as a teenager. I was a brat, total brat. I'm so sorry, Mum. But I was an awful teenager, which is when you're supposed to be awful.
Well, now we are at the end of this. Now, if anyone wants to reach you regarding your salon products, Fox Cosmetics, Lashes, a new brand, where do people find you?
info@foxcosmetics.com.au is for Fox, and Beauty Lab will be sales@beautylab.com, because nothing's live yet.
That's okay. It might be by the time.
It'll be sales at Beauty Lab. We'll have a website for Beauty Lab, which is completely locked. So salon only. You've got to apply to get part of it, because I'm not selling any of it to members of the public.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants to do your online training, do you offer that worldwide?
Worldwide.
Okay.
Worldwide with kids. Yeah.
With
so
kids,
everything's
that's awesome.
included.
And that's on Fox Cosmetics. And where can people find your products worldwide?
Worldwide, we've got distributors in America. So we have 2 distributors in America, one in Texas, one in California. We have one in Canada, and that's it so far.
Awesome.
So, but we ship worldwide.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
was
having
good.
me.
And I think, I know that a lot of you got a lot out of it. If there's any questions, obviously jump onto social and ask. I'm happy Mandy. I'm sure Mandy will answer.
Yeah.
And I will see you all at the next Lash Tribe Show.
Bye.
Wow, this was long.